to Confessions of a Binge Eater. If you have symptoms going on in your body that you suspect might have something to do with perimenopause, listen up. Dr. Mariza Snyder is an amazing practitioner and author who has written several books and is leading the way, really the revolution for helping women navigate perimenopause. Her new book is called The Perimenopause Revolution. It's published by Hay House. And she is just such a breath of fresh air. She's been on the show before. She's so lovely, has such a big heart for helping women really feel their very best, feel and look their very best. You're going to love this talk. Dr. Mariza, thank you for coming on the show.
Tricia, honey, I am so grateful to be here. I am so grateful for our friendship
Me
and
too.
how much you've inspired me over the years.
Aw, thank you for saying that. You're amazing. I love you and I love the life you've created and your sweet family. And of course, we do go way back, you
We
know?
do.
So, congratulations on this new book.
Yes, thank
Amazing. Yes,
you.
please hold it up.
I'm
Please,
going to hold it
mine's
up.
mine's on the way. Please hold it up.
Yep, I had put my
Um,
emotional support water on it, but let me grab it. Here it is.
yes, the
Yeah.
Perimenopause Revolution. I love it's beautiful cover.
I will tell you, every woman in midlife deserves a beautiful book in
Yes.
perimenopause, And so I mean, it's so pretty. It's so pretty in real life. How I really knew is my son Kingston. He was like, "Mama, it's so beautiful." And I was like, "Oh."
Aw,
I was
so
like, "You know
sweet.
how to win my heart."
Right? Way to go, son. Tell me how this came about.
Yeah. I got a front row seat to my mother's perimenopause back in 2010. I just entered practice, and the majority of my practice were women in midlife,
Okay.
predominantly a lot of migraine sufferers, because that was a lot of what I was focusing on at the time. But these were also women who were going through perimenopause and even early menopause. You know, when I've read a lot of research articles, I did so much research for this book, and there's a prevailing kind of early research that's showing that perimenopause is a default state of inflammation. And that really adds up with, seeing this uptick in migraine cases in this time. But my women weren't just suffering from migraines. They were suffering from arrhythmias and shoulder pain and workout recovery and weight resistance and low energy and so many other things. And I saw them just getting siloed into multiple directions in the healthcare system. And I really wasn't putting the pieces together in 2010 until my mom. So my mom, at the same time as many of these women, she was going through late perimenopause. She was 48 years old. Mind you, she had been in perimenopause, but her providers kept telling her, "Oh, it's just stress. You're just getting older. Here's some birth control." Like, it was just gaslighting after dismissal after gaslighting. I mean, just it was endless. And by the time she was in late perimenopause, this is, we're talking crime scene periods. We're talking pretty severe,
Wow.
night sweats and hot flashes. I mean, she is in the
Wow.
eye of the storm. And
Okay.
it's undeniable at this point that she is heading towards menopause. And again, every woman's perimenopause journey is going to be different, but my
Yeah.
mom described it as a nightmare unfolding. Like, she was
Oh.
not prepared for what was to come for her. And it wasn't until after, failed support after failed support in appointments, that she was really in a spiral, like a mental health spiral. And she called me at 11 o'clock at night, and she was like, "Mariza, I'm a shell of myself. Like, I don't even know who I am anymore." And this is a
Mm.
woman who had always been strong and steady and resilient. She was a freight train, for goodness sake. Like, to see this version of her, like, I was like, I don't know who you are.
Wow.
And so I was so deeply grateful. One, I got to take over her care, and she had this incredible turnaround over the course of 90 days. Like, I just like, man, so much of her just came back. It's like she started feeling like herself
Wow.
again. And I cannot tell you, it was such a beautiful healing journey for both of us um,
Aw.
during this time. But also, it really highlighted a big gap in the healthcare system when it came for women. And my mom is actually, I dedicated the book to her. I just want to share it really quickly
And
if
I've
I
had
could
the
do it.
pleasure of meeting your
Oh, yeah,
mother.
you have. Yeah.
Yeah.
For my mom, Jody, who gave me a front row seat to the silence surrounding perimenopause 15 years ago. Your quiet strength taught me that our stories matter. And for every woman navigating this journey now, this book is my love letter to you. Together, we are unstoppable.
Beautiful.
Well, fast forward to me being 43 years old, 2 years postpartum. And I feel like I'm on top of the world. I finally survived the first 2 years of my son's life. And I'm thinking, I'm going to shove this perimenopause thing back because I'm feeling so good. And so often women come to me around 43, even 42, 43, 44 years old, feeling like they fell off a cliff. And I was not feeling like I had fallen off a cliff. I was feeling like I was climbing mountains until about 5 months into this journey. I always say I had like this 5 month runway where then finally I was climbing up the mountain to just fall off the cliff.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, oh my gosh, is this my mother's perimenopause? Like, it was so destabilizing. And it really took me by surprise. It was the brain related symptoms that I was just not prepared for, more so the cognitive changes and the
Okay.
mental health changes too. But all of a sudden, I didn't feel so steady or resilient. My brain wasn't firing the way that it used to. My ability to like have high level functioning began to falter. And when this is what we do all day is we talk about these big ideas, we're sharing our knowledge with people all over the world, where I'm cranking out podcast episodes and writing content and blogs. And all of a sudden I found myself really struggling with all of it.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my gosh. And I remember I even gaslit myself initially. I was like, oh, I just have too much going on, or oh,
Right.
it's
Yeah, we
motherhood,
do
or yeah,
that.
we do that. And
Yep.
here I am knowing 17 years at this point of taking care of women in midlife specifically. And I am telling myself, you know what, girl, like it's fine. You're just, it's just all these things. And just pick yourself up and keep going. And I just didn't really honor the process. And so that first year of perimenopause was a reckoning for me. And as I was navigating it, I realized, and I remember looking, I talked to a lot of friends, I was looking out for resources, and it hit me, it dawned on me that we have a lot of menopause books out there, and deservingly so, but there was nothing really on perimenopause, up to it, not a comprehensive guide or roadmap.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I have promised since my mother went through perimenopause that I was going to be a part of the solution, not the problem, it's time for me to write this book. And that's
I
when I started
love
writing it. Yeah.
it. Oh, thank you for doing that. That's so awesome and so needed. And I'm glad that you were able to help your mom. Obviously, you're helping yourself with your own solution. For those who aren't totally clear on what ages typically perimenopause is, or even what perimenopause is, can you cover that?
Absolutely. So let's reverse engineer from menopause. So I think
Okay.
we all have a good sense of what menopause is.
Yeah.
So menopause, kind of how we're defining it right now today, is where you haven't had a period for 12 consecutive months.
Right.
And natural menopause average happens around 51 or 52 years old, but it can be anywhere between 45 and 55, unless you're Tricia. And then you can push it back even further. But
Yep.
even for women to get to 55 or 56, I mean, talk about that's some sexy reproductive longevity right there. I'm not gonna
Thank
lie.
you. Thank
I
you.
just want to celebrate you right
I
now
claim that.
because you are you're definitely the exception, not the
Yep.
rule.
Yep.
Okay, so 45 to 55 years old. We know that perimenopause is the transition where hormones are wildly fluctuating and ultimately declining, leading into menopause. By the time we get to menopause, hormones have I wouldn't call them fully bottomed out, but they're very low. They're in a pretty low state.
Okay.
We know that, like, estrogen in menopause is often 25 picograms per deciliter. That's really low because it can get all the way into the 400s,
Okay.
depending on where we are in our cycle. So by the
Okay.
time we're at, we're in the 15s, the 20s, that's some pretty low estrogen. That would be menopausal low.
Okay.
And follicular stimulating hormone at this
Yeah.
point it's above 25 or above 30. So,
Okay.
so just kind of give a little sense, like when we're looking at labs, kind of what we're looking for menopause. But perimenopause, everything is up for review in terms of hormones and in terms of our bodies shifting and changing. It's this transition that can feel so chaotic. And again, if natural menopause can be as early as 45, Well, this transition that can last anywhere from 4 to 10 plus years, that can put us as early as our mid to late 30s for early perimenopause. But I would say that in my clinical experience over the past 17 years, that most women feel a pronounced shift in their early 40s.
Okay.
And again, that could be because, yes, that's when it's finally starting to add up. Like all of a sudden, you're like, okay, all these symptoms, something's happening.
Yeah.
I can't excuse it away anymore. It's been going on too long. It could be that those women were even feeling things in their like at 40 or 39. They just kind of again chalked it up to something else. But usually 42, 43 is when I see women notice that there something is shifting.
And what are the typical symptoms?
Yes, those beginning symptoms can really be cyclical in nature, which again can make it tricky because in our reproductive years, we do have cyclical symptoms, you know,
Yeah.
but they just feel more, I would say, exacerbated. So usually women in follicular phase, this is kind of that kind of build you up, energizing, confidence phase. This is when testosterone and estrogen are very much on the scene. We still feel pretty darn good. We ovulate, hopefully. And then we get to that second part of the phase, our cycle, and that's the luteal phase, where progesterone is really, she's the main event, big time. But
Okay.
if progesterone isn't showing up to the show the way that she used to, which is happening in early perimenopause, things are beginning to feel a little bit more flat. You'll notice the cognitive changes, the mental health, kind of mental and emotional changes are happening in this luteal phase of your cycle. But let's say like PMS symptoms used to be only 2 to 3 days, and now they're like 5 to 7. You may notice more irritability, low stress tolerance, sleep issues. Even sleep can be cyclical. Like you could be fine in the follicular phase, but all of a sudden, sleep just tanks the last 7 days of your cycle, right? And then it's back again. It's totally fine. And that's why perimenopause is so tricky because it is really a moving target. One day
Mm.
you feel fine, the next day you're like, why does everything feel insurmountable? You know, so you may feel more anxiety, more depression. You may notice that your ability to handle and multitask 100 different things, you just can't do it. So
Okay.
all of these mental, I would say these more mental or cognitive driven symptoms, these brain related symptoms, are often those early perimenopausal symptoms.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
And
then
yeah.
and the belly fat, when does I hear people
Yes.
talk about belly fat and when and why?
When and why? That's a great question. I think it's also, it depends on the woman. Like,
Mhm.
by the time we're 40, Trisha, you and I both know women have lived a life.
Yeah.
Some of us have
Yeah.
had many kids, some kids, some of us have had polycystic ovarian syndrome or weight
Mm.
resistance issues in the past. We've
Hmm.
had struggles with emotional eating.
Yep.
That has all been potentially happening just trying to get to 40, just
Yeah.
trying to get there. And then when hormones begin to decline, we start to notice we body composition changes happen. All of a sudden, maybe even the scale doesn't move, but the fat's moving. It's moving from the butt, hips, and thighs to the belly area. It's becoming more of that visceral belly fat, as you mentioned. And that's really tied into a decline in estrogen and potentially progesterone. Also,
Okay.
it's tied into more insulin resistance, losing muscle. Those are all things that are happening in perimenopause due to declining hormones. We may also notice, particularly in perimenopause, because we're not sleeping as well, we're eating to compensate, or
For
we're feeling
sure.
more stress. So we're
Yeah.
eating to compensate for that too. So
Yeah.
it's not all very linear. But all of a sudden, we're noticing we're putting on more fat, we're losing more muscle, we don't have as much bandwidth or motivation to get ourselves moving. And as a result, the average woman, and I talk about this in the book, The Perimenopause Revolution, we will gain an average of 5 pounds of fat. 20% of us will gain 10 pounds or more. Yeah.
Yikes.
That's a lot over
Yeah.
even over 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a little depressing. So okay. So are the symptoms of menopause just a continuation of the symptoms of perimenopause if you don't have an intervention?
Yes. Yeah. So the
Okay.
symptoms, and that's what we used to always think, it was just menopause. It
Right.
was menopause. It was all just menopause. And now we know that no, there's actual distinct, not only distinct phases of peri, but there's also, we step in, even there's distinct phases of menopause. Like
Right.
early perimenopause can kind of just feel like an extension of perimenopause, especially if we bought into the narrative that there's nothing you can do. That's a
Right.
lot of what I think a lot of us have been told up until this generation of well, here you are, you're
Yeah.
aging, there's nothing that you can do.
Yeah.
And
Welcome to
so
menopause. Ha
exactly,
ha
welcome,
ha.
exactly, which is, I mean, that's a big part of what my book is discrediting, is that
Okay.
it's so far from that truth. Now, if we don't do anything about it, sure, yeah,
Right.
then
Right.
it kind of plays out that way. But there's so much that we can do,
Yeah.
and a big part of this book is about empowerment, not overwhelm.
I
And I
love
wanted
that.
women to feel like no matter where they are in the journey, that there are habits that they can implement that they can tailor to themselves, because there's no one size protocol. There's no one size protein, daily protein intake or daily creatine intake or daily movement intake. When we start to break all that down and it gets like so protocol driven, it can just feel like, man, perimenopause is a second job over here. Like
Yeah.
I have all these things I
So,
have to do.
yeah. So tell us about the hope part. Like, what can we do?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that first step is one, deciding. I think that's the biggest step, is deciding that you get to have it on your terms. You get to do it the way that you want to do it. And you get to have the freedom to feel energized, to have vitality, to feel strong and resilient. That is all within our capacity if we want it. So there's a big distinction between blaming ourselves, because no, your body is not broken. You are just going through a profound hormone shift that is calling for a new level of support. And that is okay. We get to embrace that.
Yeah.
Um,
It's not happening to us, it's
no,
part of our bodies, and we're going to work with it.
yeah, we're going to work with it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that we can do. So I think it's getting clear. And I like to break it down just within the first 30 days, because I think we can tackle that. We
Yeah.
can tackle the next 30 days. And
Hmm.
I always like to ask women, like, what would you love in the next 30 days? Like, how would you love to feel at the
Yeah.
end of a 30-day, kind of a 30-day commitment to yourself, where you're really
Okay.
prioritizing you? You're bringing in a few non-negotiable habits that have moved the needle for you in the past, that you want to anchor back into today as you move into the future. And just go from that place of like, I would love to feel more calm and peaceful. I would love to feel more energized. I would love for my brain to feel sharp and focused, right? Whatever that may be, like anchor to that and let's build from there. If it's more energies, let's talk about blood sugar regulation. Let's talk about 3 meal magic. Let's talk about,
Woohoo!
yes, let's talk about, we're only one thought away from that walk or that pantry. And we can talk about those types of things. Let's talk about optimizing your sleep and really prioritizing it like it's $1 million meeting. If it's calm and peace that you're after, which I get it, I understand. How can we punctuate more joy into your world? How can we
Mhm.
send safety signals to your brain with your morning and evening routine? How can we create moments in the day, even if it's only 2 minutes, where you step outside and you just look 10 feet out in front of you, opposed to having a screen in your face, and just start to think about, like, what would you love for that day? What would you love to do for you? And so it's depending on what you're looking to create, we can habit stack simple habits that will move the needle in a profound way in the next 30 days. And I think that's exactly what I know for me as a woman who's a midlife mom, who's got a lot of things in the air. I want wins.
Yeah.
I want to know that moving after meals is going to help give me more energy. I want to know that if I take little exercise snack breaks throughout the day, and I'm talking about movement breaks, burst of movement throughout my day, I'm going to
Mhm.
have deeper, more restful sleep. I want to know that if I punctuate more joy in my day, if I move outside in nature or I giggle with my son and have a dance party after dinner, that I'm going to feel more alive, more present. And so it's these types of habit stacks that are practical and doable, that don't overwhelm you, but also give you the biggest wins.
Maritza, are they impacting your hormones? Like, are these living habits, life habits, which sounds like really awesome self-care when you boil it down, is that changing your hormonal profile?
I love this question. So when I think about hormones, I think about from the standpoint of all the global hormones. So, the hormones that I kind of focused on just now were insulin. So becoming
Hmm.
more insulin sensitive, which we know if we have more insulin sensitivity, we have more cellular energy and we have more resilience, we have more capacity, we have more mental energy. I think about cortisol and how if we can stabilize cortisol, we don't feel like we're perpetually running from a tiger all the time.
Right.
And I know that those hormones have a profound impact on estrogen and progesterone. Now, can you balance hormones in perimenopause? No, at least not the reproductive ones. Like there,
Okay.
it's kind of a miscommunication between the brain and the ovaries. It's like trying to play telephone with a bunch of 4-year-olds. You're just
Okay.
the message is never going to be clear.
Okay.
But there's a lot of other global hormones, thyroid, cortisol, insulin, that we can get in front of, that we can really support as we navigate this. And I
Okay.
have a feeling, that we don't have a lot of research, particularly with perimenopause in general, but this is probably soothing things out. We know that these habits are mitigating symptoms. We also know that these habits are future proofing your health. So I want to do two things. One, I want to mitigate symptoms for you. Two, I want your future version of you, your healthier version of you, your 70-year-old self, your 80-year-old self, your 65-year-old self to be so freaking grateful that you did these things today. That's what I want. It's a yes and.
Yeah.
Let's benefit you now, but let's also benefit your future self later.
And that makes a huge difference. We don't want to put that off. Like
No, we do not.
the sooner the better.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's a movement that is building your plate around supporting your metabolism and your blood sugar. That is strength training. That's picking up those weights. That is prioritizing your sleep. Again, a lot of these things are lifestyle medicine. The one thing though we haven't touched upon, which is rich in helping to future proof our health and helping to mitigate premature aging, is going to be connection. I think this is the thing we don't talk enough about when it comes
Amen,
to
girl.
like,
Singing my song. I
yes,
love it.
spending time with, and I'm not just talking about family. Like,
Hmm.
and I think spending time with family is beautiful. I love it. But I'll tell you, the research shows that when we have rich relationships outside of our family, it really shows us that we are not alone. We are not struggling and
Hmm.
doing this by
Hmm.
ourselves. We have people to lean on. We are in it together.
Yep.
And there's nothing more powerful than a bunch of perimenopausal women or midlife women
It's true.
forgetting.
It's like we
Yeah,
get each other.
yeah, we totally get it. And we can also, I can't tell you how many times I'm sitting in a close circle of besties, a bunch of perimenopausal women, and we're finishing each other's sentences because we keep forgetting what we're saying. And we have friends that they just know, they're like, oh, you need your
Cute.
water bottle over there. And it's so fun. And so that way it's not early dementia. It's just
Yeah.
perimenopause.
Yeah.
You're not a rageaholic. It's perimenopause. It's fine. And so it's really nice to be going through this and having safe friendships. So, for example, today, this is a full week. I know you've been in a very full season too. If I were to name off all the things that are happening this week, I swear to goodness, the list, I don't want to look at the list.
Right.
But I have two dates this week with besties. I have a walking date at 4 o'clock today after my last podcast. And
Nice.
she and I both were like, okay, what? It's interesting, especially in this season of our life, how we can look at our calendar and be like, okay, I'm strapped to this calendar. I'm strapped to all of these obligations. But then somebody reschedules. Or you say to yourself, you know what? What if what if I reschedule? What if something else is a bigger priority? And so that's what happened for both of us. We kind of moved things around, we shuffled things around because we were like, we are a priority to each other. And
Yes.
we don't have to be stuck with this schedule that we had said yes to 2 months ago. Like, so
Right.
we have this walking date, and I asked my husband if he could take Kingston at 4 o'clock, and we're gonna go grab our favorite matcha. We're gonna go take a walk. We're gonna go to the beach. We're gonna go put our feet in the water, and we're gonna raise our heart rate variability together. And it's
I
gonna be
love
so
it.
lovely. And then I have a coffee date with one of my dear besties at our favorite coffee shop on Friday morning. And it's about, again, punctuating your week or your day with voice memos, bestie phone calls when you're on a walk, or even getting together in real time at least once a week. This is what makes perimenopause and beyond magical. It makes it magical. And it makes it feel like, you know what? I can do this. I got
Yeah.
this. I can get through this because I have someone getting through it with me together.
It's so true. Oh my gosh. And it's like, I'm a big proponent of this because emotional eaters can't
Yeah.
heal without other emotional eaters on a healing path. It's just not going to happen. I call it soul food. Like that's
Mm.
really what we're craving is that connection and community. It's so powerful. And when you have an online business, it's easy to lose sight of those in-person girlfriend walks and talks, you know?
Or that your schedule gets away from you because, especially as entrepreneurs, there's a lot of entrepreneurs listening to this, you probably have an assistant or someone who's scheduling for you. And you're just like, who signed me up for this?
Yeah, yeah, this is not a good schedule. Yeah, yeah.
Well, how did I say yes to all this? Um, I agree. And I love the soul food. Well, and what the science really shows us, because I'm talking about, premature aging prevention,
Yeah.
preventing that premature aging. It's that it's actually mitigating symptoms to spend
Mm,
time with the people that you love in real time, ideally. But again,
yeah,
walking talks and conversations, voice memos, it all adds up. You know,
yeah.
um, maybe it's a book club that you belong to or a hiking club, and here's where the research gets really good. It's when we are moving with our friends. Like that's where the juice is worth the squeeze.
Okay.
We're taking a hike with our friends. We're going to the beach with our friends. We're doing workouts with our friends. We're going to yoga together. Like that's where we really see the gains in terms of
Oh,
our overall longevity. And my mom has been such a beautiful role model around this. My mom has a tennis group that she plays tennis with that are best friends. She's got a running group. She's got her hiking group. She's got her go walk together. Even her book club, they go on excursions. They're always movement excursions.
oh, I
And
love
I love
that.
this. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
Mom, I think my mom's been working out her retirement recently. She's 65 years old. We've been talking about this. And I said, I think, Mama, the reason why retirement has been kind of, the scary unknown is I think the way she looks, she glows. Even if she's 65 years old, I mean, she's operating at like 50-year-old woman level, like, or even younger than that. And I think she's like, I don't feel like I fit in this mold of retirement. And I was
Right.
like, well, you don't. Like
Yeah,
you are who we're inspired to be. Like
totally.
but you get to reinvent, just like we get to reinvent perimenopause and menopause, we also get to reinvent retirement. And I
Yes.
watched my mom reinvent menopause on her terms. 65 half marathons and marathons later, competitive tennis competitions later.
Wow.
She is like
Beautiful.
gorgeous and amazing. And I was like, now you get to reinvent this next. And this is what it gets to look like. It gets to
That's
look like
right.
what you want it to be. It doesn't have to be this mold that you've been told. I'm like, you've done this before. You've reinvented. You get to reinvent again. And I think there's so much freedom in that.
Amen. So good. So inspiring. You call it future
Proofing,
design?
future proofing your health.
Future proofing your health. That's my biggest takeaway. I love that term. That's beautiful. And your mom is thriving because, in good part because you caught her. You caught her at perimenopause. I love it. She's a walking example of what you do and what you preach. So thank you for that.
Mhm.
Tell me how people can benefit from this amazing book launch that's happening right now, because I know you have a freebie.
Yes, yes. So I want to really quickly about the book is if you are in perimenopause and you're just like, what the heck is happening to me? Because believe me, I know, I remember I felt that way too. The book is going to explain exactly what's going on. The first part of this book is like, am I in perimenopause or am I gaslighting me myself right now? Is that what's going on? And then also understanding what is happening to your body, like in the organ system level, because these aren't just reproductive hormones; these are whole body hormones, and you deserve to understand like what's going on with this neck thing here. Like like we get to understand what's happening with our bodies. And then it's the principles, a lot of lifestyle medicine, but also HRT, and then a 5-week program that puts it all together, including the mindset piece. So that
Great.
all is there. There's bonuses that go with the book, but also if you want to just kind of dip your toe in the water, I've got a perimenopause survival guide that goes over all the labs. There's a whole symptom tracker in there. And then it's got some of my most non negotiable strategies and habits that you can stack that feel like a full solution, not a half solution for women navigating this profound transition.
Oh, that sounds amazing. I love that. And we're going to put that in the show notes, but Please take advantage of that. I'm going to get that. I want to know.
Deserve to know.
Yeah.
It's unfair that we are told our labs are normal all the time when we don't feel normal. It's
No.
unfair that we're constantly having to advocate for ourselves really boldly in the doctor's office, but that's just where we're at right now.
Yeah.
And I want to set you up to win. So I have so many tools on how to advocate, how to know your labs, how to understand how to ask for them, so that you are getting what you deserve, that you're getting that gold standard of care when it comes to your healthcare and your perimenopause and menopause care.
I love that your book is empowering women to ask the right questions and get the right support. That's so beautiful. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing about this important topic. I mean, I've had you on before. You know, you always share so beautifully and have such good resources for people, obviously, including your book. So thank you for the work you do. I know you work so hard. You know, you help so many people. So thank you. And it always inspire me. So thank you for that.
Oh, Tricia, honey, thank you. And
Thank
you have
you.
deeply inspired me. I mean, getting to share, getting to credit you with 3 Meal Magic and getting to support women on it's on the emotional journey. There's nothing like
Yeah.
your body feeling like it's betraying you and
Yeah.
then having to like manage the emotions around it as well. And so I just want to say thank you so much for that beautiful foundation that you give all of us as we navigate this and we navigate the cravings and all the crazy things that are going on as a result of our hormones erratically
Yep.
declining without permission.
Well, let's keep rocking it out and helping
Yes,
more
honey.
people, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Many
Thanks, love.
blessings to you and your beautiful family. If you're ready to get off the dieting roller coaster ride and finally make peace with food and with your body, talk to a Heal Your Hunger mentor about what steps you need to take based on your own history with food and weight. Go to healyourhunger.com and register for an emotional eating breakthrough session and see how fast you can experience real change. It's a complimentary evaluation, but there are limited spots available. So go to healyourhunger.com and register to speak with a mentor today.